Most men today have forgotten what it truly means to be respected. They confuse attention with admiration, validation with love, and popularity with power. But respect, real, deep, unwavering respect, is not something you can buy, beg for, or manipulate. It is earned, quietly, through who you become when no one is watching. You see, the modern world tells men to be soft, agreeable, and endlessly accommodating. But the truth is, the more you chase approval, the further you drift from respect. Because women don't respect a man who lives for her validation. They respect a man who lives for his purpose. There's a kind of strength that doesn't shout, doesn't boast, doesn't need to prove itself. It's calm, grounded, still. It's the energy of a man who knows who he is, and who refuses to lose himself trying to please others. That is the kind of man women respect. Not the loud one, not the arrogant one, but the one who walks with quiet certainty. A man like that doesn't need to dominate anyone. He dominates himself. He masters his impulses, his emotions, and his reactions, because he understands that control is power. Not control over others, but control over self. The one who conquers himself has nothing left to prove. And that inner peace, that unshakable composure, is magnetic. People feel it. Women feel it. Respect comes from strength. Not the strength to fight others, but the strength to walk away, to say no when it costs you something, to stand alone in your truth when everyone else bows to convenience. Every time you compromise your values to keep someone close, you lose a piece of your own respect. And once that's gone, others stop respecting you too. A man who demands respect never gets it. A man who embodies respect never needs to ask for it. Because his energy says everything. He's not desperate. He's not chasing. He's becoming. And becoming is always louder than performing. Women can sense authenticity instantly. They may be drawn to charm, but they stay for presence. And presence is born from a man who has looked into his own darkness and learned to control it. Carl Jung once said, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." That's the kind of man women respect. One who's not afraid of his own shadow, but one who's learned to master it. You see, a weak man hides behind excuses. He blames others for his pain. He gives his power away to emotions, to desires, to the opinions of others. But a strong man, he takes responsibility. He accepts his flaws, learns from his failures, and uses them as fuel. He doesn't pretend to be perfect. He just refuses to be broken. That's what creates masculine gravity. When a man stops chasing pleasure and starts building purpose, everything changes. His energy becomes focused. His words carry weight. His silence becomes louder than the noise of the crowd. Women respect men who have direction. A man who wakes up each day with a mission radiates a kind of confidence that can't be faked. Because he's not living in reaction to others. He's living in alignment with himself. And that's attractive on a primal level. Women are drawn to that energy not because it's dominant, but because it's stable, it's safe, it's dependable, it's rare. But let's be honest, it's not easy to become that kind of man. It requires discipline in a world built on distraction. It requires emotional control in a culture that glorifies chaos. It means being misunderstood, even criticized. Because true strength makes weak people uncomfortable. But that's the price of authenticity, and it's worth it. Because once you stop living for approval, you start living with peace. You stop needing love to feel complete, and you begin to choose love from a place of strength. And that's when the dynamic shifts. You no longer chase women, opportunities, or respect. They begin to chase you. A man who respects himself will never tolerate disrespect, not from others, and not from himself. He doesn't stay where his soul feels small. He doesn't entertain games, manipulation, or dishonesty. He simply walks away, not out of pride, but out of principle. Because he knows that peace is more valuable than attention. When you carry yourself like that, calm, disciplined, intentional, people notice. Women notice. Because that energy says, I am enough as I am. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's not dominance, it's sovereignty. And sovereignty is what separates the boys from the men. A woman cannot fully respect a man who doesn't first respect himself. She may feel sympathy, she may even feel attraction. But respect, that's earned through strength, through leadership, through consistency. It's earned by showing, not talking. By doing what you said you'd do, even when it's hard. By staying grounded when everything else falls apart. This is the philosophy of the masculine: to face chaos and bring order. To take responsibility instead of seeking comfort. To protect peace instead of chasing pleasure. Because a man who can master his emotions, his mind, and his mission becomes untouchable. Not because life gets easier, but because he becomes stronger. The world doesn't respect weakness, and neither do women. They respect integrity, courage, and conviction. They respect a man who stands tall even when the world tries to bend him, who keeps his word even when no one is watching, who builds quietly, loves deeply, and walks fearlessly. Remember this: when you seek respect from others, you lose it. When you build respect for yourself, it follows you naturally. Because real respect can't be forced, it must be felt. So stop trying to be liked. Stop trying to be understood. Be real. Be focused. Be disciplined. Build yourself until your presence speaks louder than your words. Because the man who conquers himself conquers everything. And when you become that man, you won't have to worry about who respects you or who doesn't. Because the right people, the right women, and the right opportunities will recognize your value instinctively. A man who conquers others shows strength, but a man who conquers himself shows power. And that power, that is what women respect. That is what life bows to. And that is the essence of the masculine soul.